It's a little bit dark in here, makes it difficult to work. I'm at the moment organising the frames for the hatch here, and I'm waiting for my acrylic sheet to arrive so I can get some decent windows in as well. But right now, it's over to the starboard armour. I thought the daggerboard casing was going to be a real big job, but it turns out not really at all. Though it did take me about an hour to carve all the timber out of there, but you know, with a piece of timber in like that, and then this piece on top of it like that, and over up here a new piece of timber needs to go in there, and in there a piece of plywood there, and then it'll look like new. Okay, well maybe it doesn't look quite like new, but a fresh coat of paint will make it look a lot better. Now you might be asking, why am I putting good, nice timber over the top of rotten stuff? It certainly looks rotten, but in actual fact it's not, and I'll show you a typical piece of rotten stuff. This is, you can see the reflection of the shine of the epoxy. This is what I am putting good timber over the top of. And in actual fact it's as solid as hell, and it's going to be all smothered in with epoxy before, or at the same time as I put on fresh timber, right? And it's all solid and good stuff. Well, the idea was to put in more windows and skylight hatches, but here I find myself in the business of closing up windows, making it even darker. Anyway, fairing is coming along, making good progress there so far, and still a little bit more fiberglassing needing to be done down here. We've got that little patch there yet to go, covering up the humpback dolphin. And making progress on these rear beams, starting to fair off the worst of the wobbles and glitches, paint runs. Yeah, coming on well. This is how you make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, and that is Joel down there, who's come to my rescue and helping me out, which is making things move a lot faster, which is great. It is a funny thing when people say you can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear, because every time I've heard it, they've been proven wrong. What I'm doing in here is I'm putting some fillets in so that the fiberglass is less likely to have voids, though the epoxy is so thick generally it fills it in, but this makes it a bit better. This is all a little bit nasty. These frames I put in sister frames in these areas so that it retains its original strength. It's amazing how much damage a leaky window can do. Now I've noticed down here that there's actually a piece of timber, a piece of ply I think, missing here when I compare it to the other side, so I better get another piece in. This is how it looks on the port armour. Well, there goes more of the old boat, bits of deck, the old boom, which was too rotten to use for anything else. Bit of a grey day here. Well, to my surprise, my power cord's not delivering power through, so I've traced through it all to come across this. Dogs here are a real problem, and they're sometimes savage. They bite people, and then you've got to race off and get rabies shots and tetanus shots. They've bitten through this cord before, but this is the first time it was actually turned on, and that dog would have got a real nasty shock. Well, I'm back to working by myself again. My worker has been called back by his previous employer who needed him, but Joel says he'll come and help me on his day off, so I'll see him once a week. These are the mystery objects that I created and showed you in earlier videos, and now they're starting to take on more shape. Maybe you can work out what it is. What are they, you might ask? They're epoxied in bolts in little blocks of wood. Cutting these bolt ends off is taking quite a bit of time. I'm finding that if I hold it there for more than 3 seconds, it gets too hot and it'll cook the epoxy, so I've got to leave it, wait for it to cool down, come back and do it again. A fiberglass patch there over that old window area. Now, how's this for a colour scheme? I quite like it. Pity I can't reproduce it. Oh, and by the way, this hatch is now in, and another hatch yet to go in this area here. I'll show you what that hatch is looking like on the inside. Not a perfect job, but it'll clean up quite well. Fiberglass patching over the old eyes of the boat, the front windows, same over here. And the main hull is now starting to look like a going concern. Fantastic. Fiberglass now on there, settled in quite nicely, no voids. Now, I've discovered an oddity down here. When you run your hands around, you can often tell where there's a void just by the sound. And there's obviously a void in here. Solid here, solid over here, void here. There's been a patch put in here at one stage, so I imagine there's a rot problem there. And when I dig through, I think I'm going to find a void and a black wet mess, which will need to be dried out. Let's see. Surprisingly, it's as dry as a bone, and it was just the epoxy, presumably. It didn't stick to this, which looks like a resin of some kind, and it has some funny little cracks in it. But anyway, I'll just fill that all in, and that should not be a problem. This is below where the chain locker is going to go at the front of the boat. And, quite a bit of digging to be done here in this area. It's all good fun. The humpback dolphin is about to go under. Here is a bit of a surprise. As you know, the boat is supported in 6 places, under the cross arms and front and back of the main hull. Now, these ones seem to be starting to move a bit, a little bit skew with and leaning forward. But here's the real surprise. The one at the back is completely washed away. Now, I don't know if it was because the boat's settling or, I don't know. This is where the high tide came up to, and I'm wondering whether the boat is starting to float. Anyway, I keep my eye on it, and it gives me a chance to work on this. It's very hard to get a good boat tender dinghy around here, so I'm drawing up plans to build my own, a little catamaran. I've now got stainless bolts in the boom, epoxied in appropriate positions for reefing, and all cleaned up. I'm playing around with a vent here, which will be good. And also I'm still playing with these contraptions, doing lots of sanding, getting these edges rounded and smooth. The fairing is coming along, getting better all the time. Though much of it's still in rough state, but I'm getting the major dents out. Fiberglassing basically complete on the main hull now, except for those spots where it's been jacked up. But now this one's fallen out. I'll get onto that one shortly. And that's about it for this month.